Today I'm going to be telling you about things that don't often get talked about enough when it comes to losing weight, beyond all the other things that we all already know about weight loss, and also tell you my mistakes when it comes to dieting and also my weight loss journey, where I went wrong and how you can avoid it. So I tried for basically half my life to lose weight, and with enough hard work and determination, I had quite a few instances of temporary 15 to 20 pound weight loss, but then I would end up gaining it back every single time and then some. So it turns out fat loss wasn't actually just about the hard work and determination. But then last year I lost 40 pounds of weight of mostly fat loss, and I was able to keep it off and transform my life. Unfortunately for me, I started having my own battle with weight when I was around 12 or 13 years old, and I was an overweight child. I was always the last person in gym class, always walking the track, always coming in at last place and having no energy to run, and I was getting bullied for my lack of fitness and also my appearance. Kids that age tend to be so mean and just really harsh, especially if you don't look a certain way. So that fed into my constant yo-yo dieting and binging issue, where I started to see food as the enemy. And at the same time, I was turning to these reward punishment cycles. And to anyone who tells me, no, you shouldn't even be thinking about your weight at that age and just enjoy your life, I respectfully disagree, because the way I felt about the way I looked prevented me from enjoying my life as a child, as a teenager, and nobody checked me. Nobody was there to teach me that a poor diet was the cause of my misery, or that, as a kid, like, I didn't know that McDonald's was maybe not providing the best nutrition for my body. Instead of the wake-up call that I needed, the adults around me who say that, oh, you're fine just the way you are, only enabled me, which prolonged my suffering, so to speak. And that and the experience of bullying because of my appearance sent really mixed signals to me as a young teenager. So it made me feel like there was something very wrong with me. It took me years to unlearn all of that and give myself the wake-up call. And then all of the doctors who saw me just said, oh, you're overweight, and just didn't offer any help to me beyond that, and telling me what I already knew. So I didn't know how to fix it. And so due to my own lack of education and adults around me enabling me, I brought my unhealthy eating habits with me all the way into adulthood. And I turned to food for comfort because I didn't know any better, but it was also my enemy at the same time. So you could end up wasting your entire life just battling with food constantly if you don't choose to wake up now. And I'm here to maybe help you realize these things. It might sound harsh, but the world is just simply not designed for overweight people, and not everyone has the privileges of parents or even just responsible adults in their lives who are there to teach them how to have healthy habits. If someone had taught me how to have a better relationship with food at that age, I would probably have not wasted all of these years hating myself and having a love-hate relationship with food. But now I'm here to teach you how to hopefully not make the same mistakes that I made. And also, as a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed nutritionist or a dietitian, even though I used to work in that industry, and obviously I don't know about your personal health issues, so please don't project on me and just take what resonates with you. I did lose 40 pounds and I was able to de-bloat my entire body in just a few months after half a lifetime of trying and failing. So I'm purely speaking from experience and the things that I learned along the way. So I hope that putting myself out there like this is going to help someone. By the way, hi, I'm May and welcome to my channel. I talk about improving ourselves so that we can live our best lives physically, mentally, and spiritually. You will definitely not find me on here saying that you are fine just the way you are, because people who tell themselves that, they're going to end up living mediocre lives. And I believe that there's always room for self-improvement. So if you like the idea of improving yourself, and if I'm being helpful to you at any point, please do give me a like and subscribe. We're all family here. We're all here to support one another. So I hope you can join our community. There's some really cool people here, like in my Discord, for example, and I talk to them every day. So now let's get into what nobody tells you about weight loss. First of all, there are no shortcuts. It's actually really simple to lose weight, and I think we all know how to do it, which is to basically eat less than our total daily energy expenditure, get up and be more active, eat more vegetables, less processed foods, less sugar, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while of doing this, we will lose weight for sure. But actually doing it is the hard part. And this is the truth. There is no magic pill. There is no shortcut. And I can tell you that not even GLP-1 medications like Ozempic are the shortcut and the cheat code that people think it is. Because people do and can absolutely gain weight on Ozempic if they are still overeating. And just so you know, the potential side effects are pretty bad, potentially even dangerous. And not enough people actually talk about this. And there's just too much glamorization around it. In fact, no weight loss medications or supplements will work if you're still overeating and not focused on your eating habits. I was guilty of this. I tried all kinds of supplements and so-called fat burners, and none of them worked for me because I wasn't eating right like what I was supposed to. All it takes, honestly, is consistency and the belief that you are allowed to lose weight. Yes, some of us might have deep down beliefs that we deserve to hold on to weight. Subconsciously, we might be self-sabotaging in ways like binge restriction cycles. We might not hold ourselves accountable with how many calories that we're actually eating versus what we think we're eating. So many people might actually have trouble with staying consistent with weight loss because it requires a lot of unlearning old habits and rewiring our brains. For example, I had deep beliefs since I was a kid that I will always be the fat kid, I would never be skinny like my friends, and that took honestly a lot of courage for me to admit that. And once I was able to be honest with myself, I could shed that belief of mine. Another habit that I had to unlearn is that a meal doesn't have to make me feel physically full and bursting at the seams every time. I can be satiated or 80% full, and that can be the end of my meal. And if I'm hungry an hour later, I can always have more food. Food is everywhere around me. And this is speaking as someone who lives in a developed country with a lot of resources. So there's no reason why I need to be uncomfortably full and then have a huge bowl of pasta for dinner 4 hours later. I know that many of us were taught as children to clean our plates, but you don't have to finish all the food in your plate. And that honestly, hearing stories of people commenting on my YouTube saying that they were shown videos of starving children in Africa in order to motivate them to eat, honestly fed into their own disordered eating habits. I can relate to that so much. You can take your food to go if you can't finish it, and you can save it for later if you're hungry again. There's no reason why we need to think that way if we live in a first world country and we know where our next meal is coming from. If you have trouble knowing when you're hungry and when you're not, maybe this means that you might eat food out of boredom. We should be able to let ourselves talk to our own bodies and be able to feel the physical sensations of hunger and fullness. And obviously, everyone's bodies are different because some people forget to eat all the time while others never allow themselves to go more than a couple of hours without food. And both of these types of people might never feel the physical hunger signals. But these days, we're also incredibly disconnected from our body. We eat while we watch YouTube or TV. No offense if that's you, because I'm guilty of this. I personally love to watch Mark Wien's YouTube videos. So he's a very popular food vlogger, and he just reminds me of eating really mindfully and really enjoying our meals and tasting the texture and the flavor. He literally makes my meals taste better. But seriously, we're always on our phone, and maybe we're just talking to people the entire time and being distracted, or eating at our desk at work. When was the last time you ate a meal and fully just focused in silence on your bites and your chewing and really connected with your body and practiced mindful eating? In fact, there was a study that found that for every 2 hours participants spent watching TV daily, they had a 23% higher risk of being obese and a 14% higher risk of becoming diabetic, because watching TV forces us to sit on our couches and then we eat and snack mindlessly, and before we know it, the entire jar of cookies is gone or the entire pint of ice cream is gone. So I'm curious to learn about your experience with food and reading your own physical signals and hunger cues. So let me know in the comments how you're learning to deal with this and if you have any tips for anyone. So consistency is also really hard if we give too much of our power away to the number on the scale, especially if we're at a weight loss plateau. Plateaus can really mess with our motivation if we keep seeing the same number on the scale over and over again for days or even weeks, and it just doesn't budge. Our bodies are so complex, super complex, and there's so many things that impact our weight. Like, for example, your muscles might be really swole if you did some hard workouts the day before at the gym. Or if you're super dehydrated, your body holds on to water. And if you drink a lot of water, you have water weight, and then you have food weight and bloating weight and so on. So if you only focus on your weight, you're probably going to go crazy, because it's absolutely normal for your body to fluctuate, maybe even up to 5 to 7 pounds a day. Motivation doesn't last, but discipline does. And true discipline carries us through the days that we feel really crappy about ourselves, when we don't want to go to the gym, when we want to give up on our weight loss journey, and when we want to binge and all of that stuff. It's all about keeping at our habits despite not seeing results, despite the scale going up. And so here you could see that I tracked my weight almost daily for a while in the constant zigzag patterns, meaning that there were days where it was going up and creeping up, and then there were days that it just kept going down. But if you zoom out, you can actually see that the overarching trend was that it was going down slowly but surely. And then I was at this plateau where I was hovering at the same 4-pound range for over a month. If I didn't stay accountable and tell myself to just zoom out of the picture, then I would have given up so quick. I had to convince myself, like, look, this is normal, but keep going anyway. Plateaus may last for days or even weeks or even a month or two, but it will never last forever if you keep going. It's physically impossible. Plateaus will never defy gravity. If you know you're eating at a deficit and you're doing everything that you can to keep going, then keep going. One way to help us understand our body better is to basically monitor our body composition, not just our weight alone. We often give the number on the scale too much power and get discouraged if it doesn't move. So tracking just weight can be so devastating and demotivating. So I recently dumped my scale for a body analyzer called the Body Pot by Hume Health, which is a very powerful body scan. It's a new product that's just released, and it's a game changer for me because it is like a medical grade body analyzer. It's kind of like an in-body scan at the gym, except you can actually do this at home anytime you want. It is the world's first portable body analyzer, which uses 8 frequency sensors to deliver precise weight, full body composition, and heart health. The advanced sensors are actually able to scan our torso, our arms, our legs, and even our heart at an accuracy of 98% compared to medical grade health scans. And traditional smart scales, they only measure the lower half of our body and uses a very generic equation to calculate your full body composition. But this body analyzer has par accuracy with in-body machines that cost $20,000. It even has a free app that lets you set your goals and track progress over time. So all smart scales and body analyzers out there, they only give you a measurement. Most people don't even know what to do with that number or what they should work on next. But the Body Pot is the world's first body analyzer, which uses AI to study your behavior such as sleep, nutrition, activity, and connecting all of that with your body data to give you personalized insights. Like for example, I've been tracking my own body fat and muscle mass relationship to help me understand why I'm fluctuating with my weight, which is something that traditional scales can't even do. I used to look at my old scale all the time and wonder why I'm having a plateau when I'm very obviously losing fat. And I would just be guessing until I got the Body Pot, and I was able to see that, for example, I've been losing muscle lately, but it's because I just got out of gum surgery and I couldn't really work out and go to the gym. So I was also gaining a bit of body fat, but I was still losing weight because muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're interested in trying this, Hume Health is currently having a sale on their website for 20% off, but you can use my coupon code MAYALICE for an extra 15% off on top of that sale, and it's only valid for 7 days. And you can find the link in my video description box. It's also HSA and FSA eligible, so if you're in the US, you can get it covered for free by your health insurance. So check it out, and thank you to Hume Health for sponsoring this video. Diets are never permanent. Dieting is a billion-dollar industry. That's why there's so many new proven magic bullet, amazing diets and food substitutes out there, and people will buy it, hoping that it will be fast for them, it will be easy and long-term and whatever. Almost none of that is true. You don't have to buy into any special types of diets or supplements in order to lose weight. You might be able to become healthier, you might be able to make your life more convenient, but it's not going to give you permanent weight loss. And I wish I could tell my 13-year-old self this because I watched her suffer for way too long. Restriction works, of course, but the second you eat normal again, you're gonna gain everything back for sure. And there's a million reasons why restriction is so terrible for you. Like skin issues, hair loss, all of it. It's very anti-glow up, trust me. Even though I lost a lot of weight, I never had those side effects. I never experienced hair loss because I focus on very nutritious and very comfortable calorie range that helps me lose weight safely. And I can basically eat like this for life. Also, keep in mind, guys, I'm very short. Not that short, but I'm kind of short. So if I overeat for a week, I'm going to gain 10 pounds back. So I still need to watch my food intake, and that food plan that you choose to have should be something that you need to be okay with as a lifestyle. Watching your food intake is absolutely key to losing weight, but diets only last for as long as you remain on that diet, because even after you actually see results, the minute you go back to the way you used to eat before, you're going to gain it all back, maybe even more. This means that if you're very restrictive on your dieting, then in order to keep your results, you're going to have to eat this way forever. I want you to examine the way that you're eating and the ideal way that you want to eat. Is it going to restrict your life? If it is, then you should find something that you can basically sustain yourself forever with. This is not the same as losing 5 pounds for a wedding or an event where after that event happens, you can be okay with gaining it back. So in that case, diets can work, but if you want permanent results, you're going to have to keep doing the same thing that gets you those permanent results. So I've been through food rehab actually, and the food therapists that I've seen never say the word diet. When they recommend me things to eat, they will use the word food plan, because a food plan is something that you're going to stick to, and it's not a diet. The specific food plan that they had me on was basically like this: unprocessed or minimally processed foods, no hard cheeses, because hard cheese triggers the same dopamine and opioid receptors, which will trigger cravings. And I'm sorry to say this, but mozzarella cheese was absolutely on the ban list as well. I know it's painful. It's my favorite as well, but the only cheeses that they allowed were cottage cheese and ricotta cheese. Processed simple carbs were also not allowed, so I had to replace white rice with brown rice. Bread wasn't allowed at all because it's processed. Added sugar of any kind was completely banned. So any sugar that we had to consume came from natural sources like fruits. But the second we baked the fruit or whatever it is, we processed it basically, and that was banned as well. And this food plan was helpful to eliminate any triggers of my dopamine receptors. It helped with my addiction. It helped with bloating issues, my skin issues. And I was losing a lot of weight on this food plan. But I found that with this food plan, or even with diets like low carb and keto, for example, if you mess up, so to speak, then your body goes crazy and bloat and you have a stomach ache, and it will take days for you to get back on track. On one hand, you can say, well, this is my body signaling to me that I ate something bad, but it's also very unhealthy for you to look at food in such a black and white way. It can be nutritious, it can be not nutritious, low calorie, high calorie. That's how you can learn to look at food more objectively, but definitely not black and white like bad or good. So ultimately, I still got off of this food plan. I stopped doing it, even though I felt amazing on it and less dependent on my personal food addiction. And it even caused me to stop binging and all of that. And the reason why I stopped is because it was so easy for me to mess up, because it was so restrictive, and I could mess up at any time and my body will punish me by making me feel sick. Food is supposed to be fuel and maybe even give you a bit of joy and happiness in life. To some people, food might be their entire life's purpose, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and we shouldn't be made to feel bad about it. This is why I always emphasize this point. You only have one life. So if you're really craving some chocolate, just go and get some. But just don't go crazy on it and binge. Binging is a coping mechanism for something deeper, and it's part of the deprivation. And so are diets. Diets literally mean to choose restriction. This will cause you to go into this binging restriction cycle where you aren't allowed what you want, so you feel like you're very deprived of it. No, it's not gonna work. Just go and eat it now. If you want to eat something, eat it and then balance it out later on. So let's say if you want fast food for lunch, go and get some. That's okay. But maybe get something healthier like a soup or salad for dinner or something like that. People also vastly underestimate how much a healthy gut microbiome can help with weight loss. Not just losing weight, but also with your skin, your bloating issues. It even helps with your intuition. This is why people say trust your gut. Your gut is like a second brain in your body. Your gut is literally your stomach brain. But when your gut isn't healthy, you're essentially disconnected with it. And especially if you're American and you eat American food or a typical American diet, 73% of food that we eat here are ultra processed with a ton of additives and ingredients, and it's designed that way to make us sick. The heavy metals, the glyphosates, the pesticides, microplastics. Okay, look at this ingredient list, for example. This is so typically American, but at the same time, whoever made this cookie, jail. Off to jail. People are so affected by the foods that they consume, and they're completely and so blissfully unaware of the havoc that's causing their bodies, because maybe we just don't think twice about it. We're so used to some of these big food brands since we were young, and that's all we know how to eat. There's all kinds of illnesses coming from just our diets. This is why people always joke about going to Europe and Asia, and then despite eating a lot of bread and pasta, they end up losing weight. But you know what? It's not a joke. It's real. The typical American diet is unhealthy because of the ultra processing and the ingredients and preservatives and all of the junk that's in it, even the food culture and so much more. What do you think of when you think of the standard American diet? It stands for SAD. There's also research showing that obesity has a direct link to unhealthy guts. Food that's gut healthy has a direct impact on your weight, specifically weight loss. Some of the healthiest people in the world, like Japanese people, for example, also eat extremely gut healthy food, and that's food that's typical for the culture. Eastern Europe as well, they tend to drink a lot of kefir, which is a drinkable yogurt that's also extremely rich in probiotics. And there's even a myth that says the origin of kefir grains are actually the manna that you find in the Bible as a gift from God. I mean, it's a myth that I heard about, and I'm not sure where that actually came from, but I kind of believe it. Unhealthy gut is also directly linked to food cravings, because the so-called bad bacteria in our gut craves sugar-rich foods to feed it. And because our gut is our second brain, we sometimes will feel this itch in our minds that we suddenly need to eat a lot of chocolate or fried chicken. And this is why we need to encourage more diversity in our guts. And that alone will impact our cravings or so-called cookie brainworms or whatever. How do we do this? There's probiotic supplements that you can take, but the best way is to just eat probiotic and prebiotic rich foods. So I have a list here that you can look at and screenshot, and I personally make sure that I eat at least a few of these foods every single day. Kimchi, pickles, bananas, garlic, onion, miso, yogurt, kefir. And I used to make my kefir at home as well. And when I was doing that, I was losing weight pretty quickly. I had so much energy. I felt so healthy. My skin cleared up. So focus on making your gut healthy, and I promise you, you'll become healthier as well. So exercise matters much more for muscle gain and a healthy body, but not so much for weight loss. Because you can do a lot of cardio and walking. It might help you a bit, but you can never outrun a poor diet. I love to go to the gym, and I still do, but the main goal wasn't to lose weight. It's to become the kind of person who loves to go to the gym, to become more fit and healthy and to look toned and muscular. But I promise you, if you're very overweight, for example, and you want to see six-pack abs, it's just not going to happen like that. In order to get abs and muscle definition, you need to be at a lower body fat percentage. So if you purely focus on aesthetics too early on in your weight loss journey, you're going to become discouraged because exercise is not only physically exhausting, it also takes time out of your day. So it's more productive actually to shift your focus depending on where you're at in your journey as well as your goals. I'm not saying don't go to the gym. I'm saying that if you want to see fast results, do it when you're at a lower weight. Everything is hard at the beginning, and this is especially the case. When you work out at a higher body weight, your workouts might be tougher, but you also burn more calories because of it. Workouts will tend to get easier as you lose weight and build muscle and become fitter because there's less resistance and you're gaining muscles. So just like how it is at a higher weight, the same theory goes as well. At the same time, you're going to lose less calories because there's less resistance at a lower weight. So just be aware of how this all works and how exercise can actually be beneficial for you. And it's very good for general health. It makes us fitter, it gives us dopamine release, and it just makes us healthier, you know? As I lost weight, I also found it easier to have more endurance and climb the stairs with more ease. Just don't fixate on weight loss as a goal when it comes to going to the gym and exercising, because it simply is just not going to help as much as your diet. As a society even, we need to stop treating the lack of exercise and diet as equally responsible for the obesity problem, because it's not equal at all. In fact, we should be focusing on why we're eating so much low-quality food as a society and improve our food environments. Like, for example, you can always see the disparities in different neighborhoods where you find more organic whole food supermarkets in the rich neighborhoods, and then in the not-so-rich neighborhoods, they don't have much fresh produce, and when they do, it's expensive. But at the same time, it's also full of ultra-processed food, and you can see this directly reflected in the bodies of the people who live in these neighborhoods. So as a society, we should start there and not focus on the wrong things too much. So you should be willing to experience some lifestyle changes, the kind that nobody really talks about, except, I guess, me and a couple other people. Old clothes are not going to fit you anymore, which means that you can probably wear your old t-shirts as dresses now, basically. You have to get a new wardrobe, or rather, you get to have a new wardrobe. I basically had to replace all of my pants because they didn't fit me anymore. Not to mention that as you're losing weight, you might also experience this really awkward stage where you're too small for your old clothes, but then not small enough for new ones. And when I was on my journey, I had to wear the same 5 outfits over and over again to kind of tide me over temporarily until I hit my goal weight. But then you might also notice that clothes fit you way better. You won't struggle to find clothes that fit you anymore. Clothes will hang on you better. Clothes that are meant to have an oversized fit will actually look oversized on you. And you will have an easier time finding clothes that look good on you. Other weird things start to happen, like chairs start to hurt when you sit on it for too long. I definitely noticed that when I was losing weight, but that's also a sign of weight loss in case you can't see the numbers on the scale going down. And if you gain weight on your face, as I tend to do, once the weight comes off, you might even look gaunt and sickly for a while. But then this was also when I experienced my glow up, so to speak, because my face started to look so different. I started to look objectively prettier, my nose became smaller, my face became smaller. But because fat can also camouflage and give people a more youthful appearance, fine lines and wrinkles might even start to become more obvious. So just so you know. You might also get cold easier because you lose the fat insulation. And then on the inverse, if you're in a hot climate, you might find yourself sweating a lot less because you're at a lower weight and you just simply don't have the fat insulation anymore. People are going to treat you differently. When I was at a higher weight, in general, people were more mean to me, or they just don't care, or that I'm just totally invisible because of my appearance, I'm assuming. There were literal times where I was introduced to people and they wouldn't even look at me or speak to me. That's how invisible I felt. I never got any special favors. People wouldn't really hold the door for me open as much. In fact, manipulators might even saw that maybe because I'm at a higher weight that I might be more insecure. So I attracted more people who are like that to bank on my insecurity. This is maybe not completely a weight issue, but more of a vibe issue. And as a result of the body insecurity, I had vibe issues. And I've seen this happen to my friends as well who are very skinny. So I don't think the weight really matters as much as how it makes you feel. So I don't know, you guys, you tell me what your experience looks like. Everyone experiences this differently. But now I have people who are super kind to me, strike out conversations, I get more compliments. I also just straight up got more guys who are weird and creepy with me because I'm assuming because I look better now that I lost weight. This is not a compliment at all, by the way, just a simple observation. I also lost a lot of friends. And that's a good thing, actually, because there were people in my life who seemingly only wanted me in their lives because it made them look better or look skinnier, which is very shallow and toxic behavior, by the way. Some people just feel so insecure themselves, and the fact that you lost weight and they didn't, that they either have to say something to you to put you down and insult you in some backhanded way, like, oh, did you get an ED? Are you starving? Are you eating okay? Or they just straight up get mad and they would leave. And I had the same thing happen with a childhood friend where we were both 16 and I told her that I was moving to New York next year and she just lost it and blocked me. There are certain people in your life who will not be happy to see you succeeding or doing better than them, and these people don't deserve to be around you, so they will automatically remove themselves, which is a good thing. If you're ever struggling with this, I completely get it and I get you, and I made videos on this topic before about my experience with losing friends and how to protect yourself from these toxic people. Ultimately, it's a good thing that you lose these people. Get rid of them if you haven't, honestly. So some of us might actually find it very difficult to lose weight no matter what we do. We just can't lose it. This could be because of possible issues like illnesses that we don't even know we have. This is why I strongly encourage you to get a full physical checkup so you can understand your body better and get treatment for what you're dealing with so that life can become easier for you and you don't struggle for nothing. Possible things that can interfere with weight loss are things like, for example, thyroid issues like PCOS, hormonal issues, or even certain medications or birth control. And I remember being on medications that made me gain a lot of weight. So if that's the direct cause, I will speak to the doctor immediately and find out if there's any other options that you can try, because that in itself is an adverse side effect and you don't want that. You can't ever suffer in silence. There are trained professionals who are out there to help you find something that suits you. And obviously, if it's causing you bad side effects, you should be able to tell them about it. For example, your thyroid controls your metabolism. So if you have issues with it as a result, you might find it either very difficult to lose weight or even to gain weight. Lack of certain nutrients in our diet can also make it very hard to lose weight. For example, vitamin B, C, and D deficiencies are all linked to weight gain. Iodine deficiencies. These are all very simple fixes with a proper diet and the right supplements, especially iodine. You only need a little bit daily. But some people just seem to not get enough of it. There's certain salts, for example, like Morton salts, have iodine in it. Seaweed naturally has it, and I also buy Lugol's iodine solution as a supplement, and I put a drop in my water. But honestly, just go get a checkup so you know what you're deficient in, because I am not your doctor, and I promise you that if you get your health right and you become more aware of what certain medications or illnesses might be doing to your body, and you remove the things that's preventing you from losing weight, I promise you're gonna have an easier time with weight loss. There's also other things that you might need to be aware of, like for example, if you had trauma or went through a traumatic experience. We store trauma in our bodies physically, which may show up as illnesses or excess weight. And I highly recommend just figuring out why it's showing up for you in that way so that you can release yourself from that burden. This also goes back to those beliefs I mentioned earlier, right? I found it really hard to lose weight because a part of me deep down thought that I deserved to hold on to the weight. I wasn't willing to admit this to myself at first, but I thought that I deserved to be fat, and I thought that I didn't deserve to have a thinner body, and I had to do a lot of work to unlearn all of these things. Guys, there's so much more that I can get into on this topic, and I will probably make a part 2 at some point. So please leave a comment and tell me what else nobody says about weight loss that I might be missing out in this video. So anyway, I love you guys, I love you all, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next video.